brought to you in partnership with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Firework, Avalara, TGW, and Sezzle. Ranked in the top 10% of all podcasts globally. You heard that right, Dave Steck. The Retail Fast Five is the podcast that we hope makes you feel a little smarter, but most importantly, a little happier each week too. Today is October 26th, 2023. I'm your host, Ann Mazenga.
And I'm Chris Walton.
And we are here once again to discuss the most important headlines from the past week that highlight how the physical, digital, and human elements of retail are coming together to shape the future. Chris, I gave that shout out because we just got back from St. Louis visiting Schnucks this week. And Dave Steck particularly said he liked that part of the podcast.
Oh, did he really? I didn't know that. Yeah. We got
recited it.
Wow.
He recited it for us.
Kind of catchy. I see other people trying to play into that same vein, but yes, that is a real statistic. So yeah, and we had the Spirit of St. Louis alive and well this week. We went down to Schnucks.
We did.
Got a tour from their chief supply chain officer and their chief innovation officer, Bob, as he's affectionately known by me, and I'm name dropping. You ever notice when people name drop people, they always just use their first names?
You know how I feel about name dropping.
I know you hate it, right? But it's always, they're like, hey, I sat with, this person. I won't call anybody out because it just happened recently, but I just sat with this person and I just used his first name to reference it. So I'm so cool. But yeah, man, we got the best tour. So thanks to them, to Dave, to Bob, the entire Schnucks team for showing us around. We got a very inside look at their flagship store in St. Louis, and it was pretty damn amazing. Yeah,
really remarkable. I mean, from just the overall appearance and experience of the store all the way through to each and every single component of the technology that they have in their store, some that we didn't even really know about.
Right.
So look forward to content coming out from that soon so that you can get a view of that store for yourself.
Yeah, Ann was coming home on the plane. She's got her headphones in. She's like, don't talk to me. I'm editing. So we got some great video footage.
I'm a pretty nice person when that happens. Shocking. I just need to be heads down and focused.
You said it, not me. You said it, not me. But yes, but she's going to do her best. And we got some great footage of what is just an absolutely amazing and quite honestly, a roadmap for all grocers to follow in terms of where the future of retail is headed, in our opinion.
Right. Well, Chris, even better. It's
my favorite show.
We have some special guests.
Favorite show of the month.
Back for their regularly scheduled monthly appearance. Two consultants from the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, David Schneidman and Truett Horn. David, Double Chicken Dave, as he's also known from former episodes. Double Chicken Dave, welcome back. Tell the audience a little bit about you.
Hi. Yes. Thank you. So the Double Chicken Dave is from a comment I made about Sweetgreen. And just so you know, I do eat Sweetgreen weekly and I still put double chicken.
Double chicken all the way.
Every time. I'm a senior director here at A&M, been with the company for 2.5 years. Before that, spent over a decade in industry. My passion is consumer and growth, but I still like to dabble in retail and cost and operating model. Native New Yorker, and I live in Austin, Texas, with my beautiful family.
Amazing. Welcome back. Truett, you're a return guest as well. Truett Horn, tell us a little bit about you.
Great to see you again, Chris and Ann, and glad to be on the show. So my name is Truett. I'm a partner with our CRG team. Been with the firm a couple years, from Dallas. Been here a number of years, and most of my work is in retail, and particularly when there's a large scale change or turnaround type situation. So categories I work with: apparel, home, specialty. There's going to be a few of those topics, or those kind of verticals today. So excited to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. What show is this for you, Truett? Is it number 3? Where are we?
This is number 3.
Number 3. All
so
right.
Hopefully it gets better every time, but you can tell me.
Third time is the charm. That's what they say, Truett.
That's right. All right. Yes, that's right. All right, Chris, let's get to the headlines.
Yes. Yeah, and I think we should. But before we do that, I do want to tell our audience about Manifest.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Manifest is the Future of Logistics conference where over 250 thought leaders will come together in Vegas the week before Super Bowl. and they're all going to share their insights in over 120 sessions. My buddy Moydan, actually, he just hit me up, the chief supply chain officer at American Tire Distributors.
Yeah.
He told me he's going to be there yesterday on LinkedIn. And so
Yeah.
I think all of you out there should be too. So you can view the just announced agenda and save $200 on your registration, which also coincidentally is $800 if you try to register on site. It's an $800 savings if you try to register on site. And you can do that by visiting manifestvegas.com/OmniTalk. That's manifestvegas.com/OmniTalk. And prices do go up tomorrow, Friday, October 27th. So come join Ann and me. And maybe, just maybe, Ann, I think we should consider this actually. I think we should stick around for Super Bowl weekend.
I'm just going to place my bets and then dip.
You're going to leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I might actually consider sticking around. So if you're interested, you want to stick around with me, hang out in Vegas for the weekend, drop me a line. All right, in today's Fast Five, we've got news on a new AI tool from Amazon, HomeGoods shutting down its e-commerce site, Kroger attempting to trace the environmental impact of its retail media network, Best BuyBuy Babies reopening. But we begin today with more big news out of Walmart. And
that's right, Chris. Headline number one, Walmart has committed to secure and transparent AI usage. What does that mean exactly, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. According to Chain Store Age, Walmart has issued a public guarantee that it will only develop and deploy artificial intelligence, or AI, for those people who have not been living in this world for the last 3 years, a technology that is they will be using artificial intelligence technology in a safe and ethical manner. The company has released what it is called its Responsible AI Pledge. The pledge is centered around 6 commitments that the company says highlight how customers, members, and associates can expect Walmart, to use AI responsibly and throughout all phases of AI technology. And the 6 principles include transparency, security, privacy, fairness, accountability, and customer centricity, of course. Truett, I need to get your thoughts right away here. Do they need all 6? Is this valuable? What do you think about this approach on AI from Walmart?
There's I think a couple angles to think about. First is it's really hard to argue with transparency, security, customer centricity. So I mean, I think at a macro level, good principles to follow as a good corporate steward. I think probably most important is, I think one is with Walmart, who's always been a technological leader in retail, is just to make sure that they're thinking ahead, keeping up with the likes of one of their biggest competitors, Amazon, which is also on the topic here, Google, Meta, and others who've essentially come out and said, we're developing our own Gen AI capabilities, and this is how we're going to use them. And I think for them, it's as much keeping up and positioning themselves as in the same voice and presence as some of those other technology leaders. I think the second thing, which is I think more valuable, is really how they're using Gen AI. And I think the use cases they'll actually apply is what creates value. And so things around which was also in the article, their search capabilities, how they're trying to make that easier for customers. There's complex transactions that it can help. There's a virtual try-on and viewing furniture in your home, which is ultimately taken a while to reach maturation. And so if the actual Gen AI investments they're making can help consumers and actually drive conversion and loyalty with their consumers, I think that's the more relevant angle on Gen AI. I think these other principles, it's good to define, but probably more falls into how they view themselves as a corporate steward, their ESG, et cetera, and ultimately being transparent. So kind of my take overall.
Yeah, I agree. David, anything you'd throw in there, or do you agree with what Truett said?
I actually do agree with him. I would say 100%. I don't think we're gonna necessarily agree on the other 4. So
the other 4 headlines. Nice.
We'll find out. But no, we're completely on the same page here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if you look at the other companies who are coming out, as Truett mentioned, some of those, Google, Meta, Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic, and Inflection, who are mentioned particularly in this article, but those who are coming out and really talking about this, it shows Walmart's desire and really, putting it out there as Walmart as a tech company, as well as one of the biggest retailers in the US, and really their focus to kind of place themselves in that group or in that other arena of some of the biggest technology companies that are impacting where the future of AI will go. But Chris, close us out with your thoughts.
No, I mean, real quickly, I mean, I think, corporate stewardship matters, and Walmart's showing leadership here. I mean, that's the point I would make here. I mean, you could try to poo-poo this all you want, but like, they're actually doing it. Like, how many other companies are doing this? And it's important that more and more people take this approach on AI. I think the more we can write down, one of my favorite sayings I ever heard working at Target was, it's not a plan until you write it down.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to have a process for how you're going to deploy AI until you write it down. And so every organization should be having the same stewardship in how they're trying to go about it.
Right.
And so kudos to Walmart. I can't remember, honestly, and the last time we lambasted Walmart for everything, for anything. I feel like they've been on a roll here on this show.
For sure. Without a doubt.
All right, headline number 2, Amazon is now letting advertisers use generative AI to spruce up their product imagery. According to The Verge, Amazon is beta testing AI image generation tools for its advertisers, offering an easy way to create backgrounds or scenes around whatever product ad buyers are hoping to sell. Amazon says the new feature is, quote, designed to remove creative barriers and enable brands to produce lifestyle imagery that helps improve their ads' performance, end quote. For example, Amazon says putting products in a lifestyle scene versus just leaving them on a standalone white background can lead to 40% higher click-through rates. And
especially when pumpkin spice is involved. I mean, if you see the video Chris put out on LinkedIn.
That's not even calculable ad.
No, I mean, you got a PSL up that I love that's a filter option, is like pumpkin spice up this image.
Is it really? That's great. I missed that in that video. Oh man. All right, Truett. So this one, we're going to go to you. Again, would you be advising brands to leverage this new capability from Amazon? What do you think here?
I like this one, and I think it's a solution for their sellers. There's a little YouTube video that was attached to the article that kind of showed how this works in practice. Looks simple, easy to use. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I think it noted a couple of forks that we're on top of each other, and ultimately, do you need that next to the toaster? So you're going to see these types of things happen. But I think it's just, go back to the previous conversation we had around specific use cases, just leveraging Gen AI capability to make sellers' lives easier, to make customers' lives easier. I think it's a good idea. Is it breakthrough? Probably not, but it shows a solution orientation from Amazon that they're known for.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, the thing I love about the show, Ann, is sometimes we just get to cover headlines that are just awesome and that we want people to know about because we're seeing them. We want the retail executives that are listening to see them. So my 2 words for this is no brainer.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, what do you think though?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, as Truett mentioned, these are the appropriate use cases for Gen AI. These are the scenarios that are not super sexy, but they're saving time. They're allowing, especially the smaller sellers on Amazon. I think that's where I really start to get into this and love it. I don't think, based on my experience, at Target and other places who have created the background images and spent the hundreds of thousands of dollars on the shoots to create those background images, those companies, I think, will still be super involved, making sure that the fork is not next to the toaster and all those crazy things that happen on a shoot. But I do think that this is a really smart thing for, the mid-size seller to be able to just jazz up their images, especially when you look at 40% increase in engagement in those images. And it does matter. Pumpkin spicing up a picture matters to whether or not somebody's going to be picking your image or product over another one. And I think down the road, what I'm really excited about is I think this could be really cool as you start to incorporate this more into video and motion too, because we heard Amazon announce at Amazon Unbox this week too, that they're starting to allow more opportunities for those SMBs to be able to produce live motion content for Amazon streaming services. So I think when you're able to really pinpoint this to time of year, to context, to consumer, and using these same Gen AI tools, I think that could be really powerful.
Yeah, great points. So David, are you going to go contrarian on us, or are you going to agree with us? Are we unanimous in this one?
I think we are unanimous. So first and foremost, this is a good, powerful tool to leverage AI. And I think what Amazon's doing is being quite innovative here and leveraging it in a way that really is a symbiotic relationship with their customers, but then also with their consumers or their suppliers. A big thing with these suppliers is, how do you mitigate non-working media? They don't want to put a lot of money into creative. They want to put money into driving sales and creating a product shot that is just of the key visual, and then having to do a different types of shots related to lifestyle imagery is expensive. That's multiple shoots. And by leveraging the same key hero shot and now putting on AI on top of it is a huge value add for them that will not only drive sales, but mitigate a lot of cost potentially. And so I think this is great.
Yeah, and where this goes next too is actually 3D imagery. Like, you're going to get to the 3D side of this too, because I know there's companies that are trying to do that as well. So we've got unanimity in this show up to this point, Ann. Unanimity. Yes.
All right, let's go to headline number 3. HomeGoods has shut down its e-commerce site. According to Business Insider, the discount home decor chain, which is owned by TJX Companies, sent an email to customers announcing that it would stop offering online shopping after October 21st. Quote, "We've made the decision to focus our resources on our brick and mortar stores," end quote, the email message said, while adding that it would also be announcing, quote, "many new store openings," end quote. TJX also reported this past August that net sales from e-commerce were less than 2% of total sales in its most recent quarter. David, we're going to you first on this one. Bold move from HomeGoods. What do you think? Do you agree with it?
I'm a fan of it.
Yes.
I am. There's that concept of everyone needs to be omni-channel, but I actually think this fits within their core competency. If you think about HomeGoods, they're all about holiday and or seasonality and surprise and delight. And so when you go in there, it's almost like an adventure, and they have what I'm calling an awkward but very curated assortment. They know their core consumer. They know what their purpose is. And I think when you think about online, it's much more intentional, and you're there for a specific need. And I don't think they can compete with other competitors, whether that is Etsy, Amazon, Target, and the Walmart and the other beast. So I don't know their P&L, but if it's 2% and they're probably putting a lot of investment in there, they got to be, maybe break even if they're lucky. And so I think from a core competency, a financial aspect, it really makes sense, and they can have a singular vision and really drive in-store experience and curation. So I'm a fan of it, and it fits within the TJX model. If you think about that with the rest of the portfolio.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I remember when we first covered this story when they were going online. I remember thinking this sounds amazing, but it's a huge feat when you have single products that you're trying to get, eyes on or trying to have visibility to in store, and then to be able to promise to that customer that's very loyal to you. But Chris, you agreed with
I do.
David.
Resolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think on that show too, if I remember right, we said there were a lot of watch outs we called out, because you're right. Like the onesie and twosie thing, I actually think it's impossible to do this business online the way TJX does it. I would go so far as to say it's impossible. Like, you have onesie and twosie items that you're trying to sell online. So there's no way you can be profitable, because the whole idea of e-commerce is you're picking out of one warehouse a lot of units. You're trying to move through a lot of units, or you're doing the marketplace approach where Amazon is taking advantage of the people trying to do that. Right.
Yeah.
And then don't even get me started on which is probably what precipitated this, was the omni-channel idea of buy online, pick up in store, curbside. Yeah. That's impossible in these stores. Like, the data accuracy that's going to be needed to make that happen is just it's not going to work. And so,
as it stands right now.
Yeah. Right. And so they have to give it up. So, but my point in this though is TJX has got to be really careful, because Amazon, I think, is going to be gunning for this very soon. They just announced Just Walk Out Technology and Apparel. They could easily start to do this thing in the same space with all their return items, where they then get that inventory accuracy and they can know what can be shipped and sold online. And so when that day comes, look out, TJX, because I think it's coming, and I think it's going to be here within the next 3 to 5 years too. Would be my prediction.
Bold prediction. Truett, where do you fall on this?
I agree with what's been outlined by Chris and Dave. And HomeGoods, it's their core competency in the treasure hunt in stores, and they've proven that they can drive growth without the e-commerce business, plus 8% on a comp sales basis. And I would just say continue to focus on your core competencies and open stores and drive growth that way versus focusing on the digital business.
So I don't know that there's much that I would add outside of, I don't think saying it's impossible. It is possible. Now, whether or not that's going to be a profitable endeavor after the things that Truett had called out where, is this really what's going to move their bottom line? Probably not. Is Amazon going to come in and eat their lunch if they can get this figured out? Debatable.
Yeah,
I think,
right. Debatable is a good point.
I think that it comes down to like, are we going to start having manufacturers RFID tagging things? Like, this is not just an issue in this treasure hunt experience in the HomeGoods area, but also for other things. Like if we want resale to take off in the future, like the visibility to what is in stores, I think has to be an investment that's made at the manufacturer and retailers end to make sure that, this process can be as seamless online as it is offline for a retailer like HomeGoods. So not impossible, just is it part of the investment that they're willing to make?
Yeah, I would say it's impossible right now.
Yes.
Under the current technological strengths of
Yes.
how a retailer, particularly TJX, is doing its business.
Yes.
All right, headline number 4. Kroger wants to trace the impact of its retail media network on the environment.
Oh my God.
According to Chain Store Age, Kroger Precision Marketing, the retail media business unit of Kroger, will become the first retail media network to measure carbon emissions through a collaboration with supply chain emissions measurement and reduction specialist Scope 3. Kroger will use Scope 3's open source methodology and emissions model to measure the carbon impact by applying Kroger's audience data to offsite media campaigns. The idea being that advertisers should understand the impact of wasted online ad impressions. David, curious, do you think this is a real thing that brands care about, sustainable retail media, or do you think this is just PR hype?
PR hype. I think it's
Really?
I think it's a total stretch.
Really?
It's a total stretch. So
Oh, wow. All
the
right.
concept of being environmentally friendly and, having offset carbon footprint is super important. But I think that's more, in the physical manifestation of products. So supply chain. If we're thinking or, in-store actual experience and inventory, if we're talking about digital advertising and media and translating that to high emission inventory, I think it's a total stretch.
Right.
I think they're shooting for the moon on this one. Talking about the moon, this is like when, brands send their product to space. Like, why? It's it's a PR play. So like, I'm all for mitigating ad impressions. Like, I completely agree. I just don't like that is, why are we wasting spend on, that's a lot of cost and that's a lot of time and efficiency if we understand that those impressions aren't driving sales. But I don't think translating that to the actual environment or carbon footprint works. And then they're talking about how they're comparing their carbon footprint to other retail medias. And as a brand, I would focus more on, demographics, what's your size of opportunity with impressions, with your traffic, with your CPC, and then ultimately conversion, then your environmental impact there. Cause I think it's difficult to really.
Right. Your return on ad spend. I mean, that's what you'd be focused on. Right? I mean, yeah.
It's not, return on ad spend to environmental impact. I think that's
right. Yeah. That's what,
not return on ad sustainability.
Right. No, I mean,
yeah.
But there are some interesting angles here too. But but that is the way the article couched it. It was like basically like telling you if you're making bad investments with your media spend, right? That's essentially what it was saying. It was another way of saying that. So, Anne, what do you think though? You don't like this at all, do you?
I think whatever the award is for public relations, the Kroger Precision Marketing's team should win that 1,000 times over. I think this
that insight that they found.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, great. This gives Kroger a bullet to put on their how we're sustainable site of their part of their website. It gives every brand that's participating
all those goals that
it.
everyone has, those targets.
Yeah, like they've got They
those
worked
targets by
this
2035.
angle hard. Does this impact what really comes down to for me? Does this impact my choice as a Kroger consumer of going to Kroger over another retailer? Absolutely not. Is this going to make an impact in the sustainability that I look for as a consumer? No one cares about this. I really
Does it impact your decision as a CPG brand of where to place your money? It sounds like Dave says no. What about you?
Not at
No?
all. Like it all comes down to money. This is like such a BS thing. I can't.
Interesting. I might go the other way on this on you guys. But Truett, what do you think first before jump in here?
I disagree. Unfortunately, I think consumers don't care about it. I would be shocked if brands care about it. If there's other uses for it in terms of PR, et cetera, go for it. But given, retail media is still pretty in its nascency in terms of just the stage. Yeah. And I would focus on driving return first and making sure that there's actually growth in the platforms that are being used.
Yeah, see, I don't disagree with anything you three said, but I think there's a unique angle here that I think is quite fascinating from like the merchandising marketing standpoint of like
Give it to us.
of running Kroger's media network. Like in a lot of ways, it creates the opportunity for a new metric to come out of this. Like, so like just like absolute waste, right? And so like, I don't know how you do that, but like, let's say it's like on a score of 100, right? And so if I tell a CPG that your ad spend was 19 out of 100 in environmental waste, right? Like, that's going to have an impact on people. And like that could
on
get
what
out
people.
I think it's going to
Well, what if I was 95 out of 100 on driving sales there though?
Yeah,
So,
right.
like,
well, they probably are correlated though, right? So that's the thing. Like if it's about wasted ad spend and inefficient ad spend, they're probably correlated and it calls the CPGs onto the carpet if they're not performing well. And so I think that could have an impact on how people view this over time. But anyway, just throwing that little wrinkle in there. But I can see that that's not a very strong point, so I will concede.
You're floating on the raft with Jack outside of the Titanic. You're floating on the board. This is I'm
off the board then.
You're off the board.
Right,
this
off
is
the board.
not going to work for you. All right, let's go to the final headline, number 5. BuyBuy Baby is making a comeback with plans to open 11 stores. This one's for you, Truett. According to Chain Store Age, Dream on Me, the baby goods manufacturer company that acquired the brand through bankruptcy proceedings, is reopening the stores just in time for the holiday season. They plan to launch a website this month as well. The company will open 11 stores in November as part of this initial relaunch, with locations from Massachusetts to Maryland. And the stores will offer, quote, an elevated shopping experience, end quote, along with an updated registry, according to what a company spokesperson told the news outlet. David, I'm going to go to you first. I want to know what advice you would have for Dream on Me, which is a great name.
Dream on Me.
Yeah.
It's like
I thought you made
Aerosmith
this
song,
up.
right?
Dream on
You thought
Me.
I made this
Yeah,
up?
I did.
Dream
Dream on Me. As they prepare to launch this brand, what advice would you have, David?
So I think what they said in the article and what we're talking about, they're doing one of the two things, which is that really doubling down on the digital experience.
Okay.
I think that's super important.
Mm-hmm.
Leveraging QR codes, having a seamless app, self-checkout. In today's day and age with where brick and mortar experience is, having that in-store digital seamless experience is huge. I have 2 kids under the age of 4, so this is very near and dear to my heart.
Right.
And so the other piece I would say is make sure you get the assortment correct. I think assortment is super important here, and I think that's a big reason why they struggled with foot traffic. It needs to be super curated on big ticket item purchases that are but are a necessity for the family, and then your daily needs. Very curated, 2 to 3 tiers of good, better, best.
Mm-hmm.
Don't overthink this, and just something that it's a staple for the family. And BuyBuy Baby, where it was before, the assortment was all over the place. It was confusing. There wasn't a clear tier and price architecture. So I think assortment is huge here as they think about relaunching, and then also continuing to drive that loyalty through better assortment, digital experience. So those are the 2 things. I think one of them, if they actually do what they say, will be a nice check.
Yeah, that's interesting. Truett, where do you come down on this?
I think it's the right, kind of way to put your toe in the water to see what's left in terms of the equity in the brand. And I do think BuyBuy Baby does have equity. It
Mhm.
was obviously the kind of charm or the jewel in their portfolio of Bed Bath and Beyond. Just it's always a struggle. I think it's a playbook that you've seen others follow. Toys R Us is a top of mind example where they've kind of come back in terms of the brand and leveraging that licensing and recreating that experience, and their slow growth in terms of brick and mortar. But I think it's the right thing to test, and then let's just see if there's a pulse from the consumer for this brand anymore. But I think all those fundamentals, you only have one chance to relaunch, and so it has to be in place in terms of the experience and the assortment to have to ultimately make sure that.
Yeah, Chris, I want to hear what your thoughts are. David Truitt outlined some very important components, making sure you have the right assortment, getting your digital and omni-channel presence right. You were a former baby merchant. Like, what do they need to be thinking about as they're going into these 11 stores?
Yeah, I said this on the show before, favorite business I've ever run. I would agree with what David and Truitt both said. The element I would add to it is, I think, and this comes through in the article too, is you've got to lean into first-time moms. First-time moms are the differentiator if you're going to be successful. So that means registry and service. You got to play those up if this is going to work at all. With that said, though, I am very skeptical that this is going to work in the long run because online is such a factor, as David said, and there's a lot of companies that know how to do online very well. And the other thing is just macroeconomics, the demographics of the country. Walmart, Amazon, and Target are already fulfilling such a need at mass for the first-time mom that I think it makes longevity of a store concept in this space very difficult to do and to grow the footprint as well, which is why I think we've seen this business struggle over time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you guys. I think, David and Truitt also called this out, like the way that I see this working, and you and I have gone back and forth about the future baby store experience several times, but the way that I approach this is like, you have to be REI for baby products and gear. Like, you have to be the place where first-time moms are going to the store because they have no idea, and you do all the research for them. Yes, you can do that online, but like, are you able to walk in, talk to an associate who puts your mind at ease, who gets you, every single best possible product at the price point that you're wanting to be at, which is exactly what David was saying too. Like, that is great. However, like, what has your big box store experience been in recent days, in recent shopping days? Like, I think the challenge here is actually going to be to find those associates who are as knowledgeable to do this at scale. To put your mind at ease.
I think that's you gave me a light bulb. We love Target. Target's great. It curates and has everything we need, but we also do education before we get in the shop. So we know what we're looking for.
Highly educated category.
Exactly. So for those who aren't as educated, and to your point, need something like REI, where it's like, I can come in and give me everything.
Yeah.
Instead of going camping for the first time, I'm having a baby.
Yeah.
And you need to tell me what I need, when I need it. And there's a lot of products that you don't think of. There's a lot of things, and you're in where you are, you're clouded judgment. So, but I just think you need to make sure you have that experience correct. Because if not, how are you going to compete with a Walmart and a Target?
The other element I would add here, which is really important for this category, is a lot of these products are market available goods. So you can go up market, and the reason for that is the product safety thing. So the things you need as a first-time mom or first-time parent, the car seats, the crib, the stroller, all those are market available. So, and you don't have the private label to buoy you up, like say in a Dick's Sporting Goods, how they've leaned into it, that kind of thing. And so that causes a real challenge because showrooming doesn't go away, right? So even if you get the great experience, that great help, if cost is a factor, price is a factor, you're going to go in and get that help, and you're still going to buy it somewhere else. And so that still is the big rub in trying to get this store concept off the ground.
All right. That was I liked that one.
Yeah, it's a good segment.
My favorite story.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, let's go into the lightning round, you guys. Truitt, first question is for you. Tinder now allows other people to swipe for you, including your own mother. Truitt, what's one characteristic that you think your mom would have looked for in a partner when selecting a potential match for you?
I'm not a Tinder user, and this is, my dating experience predated all these apps. But if you were able to look at not just physical attributes. I think the one attribute my mom would want to find is patience, because I'm really,
Oh.
really hard to deal with, and David Snyman can attest to this.
That's awesome. And it's actually a great segue into my question for David next, which is that KFC is reportedly testing bringing its original recipe chicken to the chicken tender. Dave, if you could describe your personality as only original recipe or extra crispy, which of those two attributes best describes you?
Well, I would say, yes, need to have patience with Truett, but Truett needs to have patience with me, because I would definitely say I'm extra crispy.
It's the best kind double chicken, Dave.
Yeah.
Best kind of chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm
not-
all
not
original
a-
recipe.
I wouldn't say I'm original. So definitely extra crispy. Maybe a little spice in there too. So
Ooh, yeah.
Extra spicy crispy
Yeah.
or whatever it was.
that sounds good. That
No,
sounds
dude.
good.
I'm so down for the chicken tender original recipe. Like that's
Those are soggy. Nobody wants a soggy chicken.
no, that's like finding gold, and
Extra
like I
crispy?
can't wait for that to debut.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
All right, David, I'm going back to you. Kim Kardashian is launching her Skims product for men right now, leaning into boxers and t-shirts and tanks and socks. If Kim came to you with the idea to push it further and develop shapewear for men, what would you say to her? What would you recommend?
I'd say just stick with your underwear. Maybe
well said, my friend. Well said.
maybe I wear, like, if I'm gonna go for a run and you have like the tighter,
Yes.
maybe something like that. But I think getting into like moisture wicking pieces is a little bit of a far stretch, getting into maybe athleisure with that. But I would say stick with your traditional underwear and socks and tank
Although I
tops.
do want you men to experience wearing shapewear and like having to go to the bathroom with shapewear on. I would like men to experience that at some point in time down the road.
It's not that different than like the spandex I used to wear under my shorts in
Oh, it's way
basketball in
different.
high school.
It's way
Oh, let me
different.
tell you. No,
That's
it was stomach pain inducing, and I can remember it vividly. All right, especially when
Maybe
you're
like
like waiting
black
for the
tie
quarter to
events.
get over, you're like, oh my God, can this quarter just end? All right.
Black tie events. That's what it's for. It's when you
Black
want
tie
to
events.
look a little bit better. You can
Right.
have
That's what I
men's
mean.
shapewear for men.
It's great. It's great.
Right. All right, True. Last one. Bush's Best is amplifying its lighthearted image by making Halloween costumes available this year that look like Bush's bean cans. Truett, other than baked beans, what is the last thing you would want to eat before putting on a terribly complex Halloween costume?
Those zip up costumes that have air flow and it's completely covered.
Right.
Anything that would
Fluorescent.
smell bad, like onion or garlic, where you're smelling your own breath,
Oh, your own
would
breath.
be
Good call.
horrible.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yuck.
Yeah, you don't want
That
to
would
eat
be
garlic
gross.
before you put on a mask, right? Yeah,
No.
no, I think that's true. All right, happy birthday today to Dylan McDermott, Warlock from Top Gun Maverick Ann, who's named Charles Parnell.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, and to Don Draper's first and one of his most lovely mistresses, the great Rosemarie DeWitt. Do you remember her, Ann?
No, I
Rosemarie
don't.
DeWitt. All right, I bet you will if you look her up later.
Probably.
All right, and remember, if you can only read or listen to one retail blog in the business, make it OmniTalk, the only retail media outlet run by two former executives from a current top 10 U.S. retailer. Our Fast Five podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news, and our twice weekly newsletter tells you the top 5 things you need to know each day, and also features special content that is exclusive to us, and we do it all just for you. And we try really hard to make it fit within the preview pane of your inbox. Thanks as always for listening in. Please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. You can also follow us today simply by going to youtube.com/OmniTalkRetail. Dave, if people want to get in touch with you, pick the brains of you and your colleagues at the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, what's the best way for them to do that?
I would say 2 best ways, or one, go to our website. It's alvarezandmarcel-crg.com. And if you want to reach out to Truett and I individually, LinkedIn, just shoot us a note. We'll respond.
Awesome. So also on behalf of Dave and Truett, thanks for being here with us. On behalf of Ann and all of us here at OmniTalk, as always, be careful out there.
The OmniTalk Fast Five is brought to you in association with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consulting firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities toward their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And Firework. Firework is the largest video commerce solution built for the world's leading brands. They empower brands with shoppable and live stream video on their own websites where people like to shop. Put your commerce in motion with Firework. Find out more at firework.com. And Avalara. Avalara makes tax compliance faster, easier, more accurate, and more reliable for the 30,000 plus business and government customers in over 90 countries. Avalara leverages 1,200 plus signed partner integrations to power tax calculations, document management, tax return filing, and tax content access. Visit avalara.com to improve your compliance journey. And TGW. Revolutionize your grocery supply chain with TGW. Their experts tailor automation solutions to your needs, ensuring you have the edge. Work with TGW before your competition does. Discover more at tgw-group.com. And finally, Sezzle. Sezzle is an innovative buy now, pay later solution that allows shoppers to split purchases into 4 interest-free payments over 6 weeks. To learn more, visit Sezzle.com.